We're going live, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If it goes, if it doesn't, we're just gonna roll with it.
All right.
So we were just talking about it, bro, and the amount of energy that is around this team, the way that everybody's kind of waking up to the Thunder. I don't know, dude. You were just kind of explaining how it made you feel and how I don't know. It feels pretty cool to have something that's like a community like this now.
Yeah, and I think this is. I just want to say thank you first of all. Like when Mark and I started on this road, we felt that we needed to be heard because the positivity was missing with the rebuild or the retool. And when that happens, to me, it's always frustrating because the reality is that this team needs
Yeah.
all the positivity behind it. They need all the support behind it
They're
because
young.
when you're young, you listen to everything else. They're not, I mean, you can say they're professional athletes because they're getting paid millions of dollars, but mentally, they're still not there. You know, they're
If
not the Kobe mentality or the Michael mentality or the Shaq mentality where they can just push away all the noise.
if we learn one thing with the previous generations is, bro, players hear the noise.
Yeah. And it's important for us to show the support. And I think that's what we felt was missing. And again, why this is so important for us when we're talking to you guys is because the support you guys continuously show us. And if you guys want to take a look on as far as what I'm talking about, just go look at our comments and every single podcast that we put up. And there's so many different people that are just speaking up and saying thank you to us, and it's really inspirational to us, Mark and I. And I know we're spending a lot of time saying thank you to you guys, but it just means something to us. And so, as we're getting into what we're talking about with this Thunder, again, this community is everything to us. Like, we're not going to stop podcasting. We're not going to stop going live. Off season is just another way of looking at what's happening with the Thunder. We got draft, we got free agencies, we got all this other stuff that we're going to continue bringing up, and we're not going to stop the community just because the Thunder aren't playing.
Yo, like it's been at least 7 years since I missed a Thunder game that wasn't like through absolute blackout and I couldn't even find a good illegal stream. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
that's just how it's been for me. And I know that like bro, it's been like the same thing for you. So watching all of these people suddenly kind of like feel invigorated, not in a way like, oh well, it's been a couple of years since we made the playoffs. No, the last time we made the playoffs, people kind of knew what was coming. Like it was going to be short lived with Chris Paul, and previously when we made the playoffs with Russ and Paul George, it was there's a
It's
lack of
expected.
enthusiasm, right? This is a new enthusiasm, and like, how does it make you feel?
Again, it's the energy that everybody's putting out there. The idea that people are waking up, and it's not just the Oklahoma State Thunder fans. It's the media everywhere. They're all starting to see what we've been saying all year, and that's what's so powerful. Like because when you look at this team and you look at what we said, we said that this team was going to get someplace around 40 wins and make the playoffs and have a lot of playoff minute games towards the end of the season. Like that's what we thought this team was capable of doing without Chet. And everybody said we were crazy outside of who the people that have taken time to listen to us. And I think that's important to look at it because when you recognize what's happening inside the organization, right, and you feel that you have a really good read on it, and then you're able to express that, and then everything that you've been saying is coming to fruition because you've bought in to the Sam Presti idea,
Right? Yeah.
and that's what we've done, like when everything is coming, the playoff time, the playoff minutes, Shea stepping up, Josh Giddey getting the near triple double, Dort stepping up when we needed him the most. Like this is what happens when you play as a team. Like Shea didn't have to score more than 7 points in the first half. Why? Because everybody else is hitting shots, and he was just taking the double team for him. Like to me, this is what team basketball is all about.
So one of the things that I felt like was really consistent with this team as the game went on was that when the pressure was mounting, right,
Hmm.
the Pelicans really played tighter, and we continued to play loose. And as a testament of that, um, kind of example is like we closed the game with the same lineup we started the game. And for most teams, that's not surprising, but we're always closing the game with different units than what we start with. And we saw J Will and J Dub really loosen up in the fourth quarter and really come into their own and have some of their biggest moments of the game in the fourth quarter. J Will knocked down a three. He was playing great defense, getting big rebounds. And J Dub was just like he finally found like seams in the defense. And to me, I felt like those two guys getting coaches' trust as rookies and having a way of playing freer. And where does that freedom come from? It comes from like, and I've been listening to a lot of talking heads talk about the Thunder after this game, and the Thunder play the right way. They play together. They share the ball, right? And when you do that, when you have a leader like Shea, who invites a double team to get the defense off balance so he can make the first pass and get the defense scrambling, and then we can attack from positions of strength like the whole first half, right? Like it gives those players confidence as the game goes on. So as the pressure mounted, right, then the other teams started cracking. And one of the things we know about the Timberwolves, and I don't want to get stuck too much talking about them, is the last game the pressure mounted and they started cracking around the edges. So
The last 2 games, man.
there's something to be said about that coming up. But what we saw was a team, the youngest team in NBA, the second youngest team in NBA history, the youngest core in NBA history, as we like to say, played with an enormous amount of poise that is impressive for any group, no matter their age.
Well, and I want to say the competitiveness that we saw, and really the fourth quarter and the competitiveness that we saw with J. Will, J. Dub, and Josh Giddey. And I'm only bringing these 3 guys up. I mean, we all saw it with Shea, we all saw it with Dort, but the 3 guys that I want to really hyper focus on was Josh Giddey. Listen, Josh Giddey caused a flagrant foul. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Well, Josh Giddey got punched in the dick. All right, and after he gets punched in the dick, what does he do? He gets up and starts running at the player.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. You can't punch me in the
right.
dick.
You
right?
cannot
Okay.
do that.
Now, why is that important?
No dick punchers here.
Because the refs were now forced to look at it. They were forced to stop it because
But there's a line, right? Because if you lose your cool, then you get a technical.
that's right. And that's why Richardson was like inviting him over. He was trying to get Josh Giddey to get a technical. But that's where you saw Jay Will and Shea. Like Shea's even smiling and laughing because what Josh was doing was funny. Like he can't fucking punch me in the dick. Like what the hell? Like, and Shea's laughing again. This is exactly what we needed to see last night. We were backs up against the wall. They were picking on us. They were trying to get us to snap. And what happens? We increase our intensity without losing our cool. And that's all because of what Josh was able to do. Shea, Dort, J-Dub, J. Will. Like J. Will was a master last night. I mean, he was a master with the ball. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. And let's talk about Josh Giddey because, like, we'll come back to J. Will because we have a lot to talk about J. Will. But 31, 10, and 9 for Giddey. Basically, like, anybody who's obsessed with round numbers thinks one rebound is shy of a triple-double. We look at it, we got the win, and he put up a masterclass of a stat line. It's incredible. But to me, as incredible as that is, and, like, you have to keep it in that context.
Let's just stop right there for a second. Josh Giddey could have had a triple-double if he didn't tip the ball out 3 or 4 times for a team rebound.
Okay.
And when he tipped it out was because if he didn't, there was a 50% chance that the other team was going to get it. So Josh Giddey gave up, in my opinion, his triple-double to allow our team to ensure the rebound.
Right. And
team basketball, man.
Right. 30-point triple-double, yada, yada, all the accolades that come with, hitting that and everything, or like being on the cusp of that, like an elite player's elite game. That's what we're talking about. But here's what impressed me the most. He was picked on physically. Now, he stood up for himself. But like it seemed to me like they were saying, like, we are a playoff tested team. We understand playoff basketball. And we think that if we play physical with you, if we push you over, if we knock you down, if we hit you in the head, if we do those types of things, you're going to wilt under pressure. And what Giddey showed was this incredible determination where he was just like, he got more powerful. He got stronger. He became like, he rose to the moment in a way where it's like, why doesn't he do this every game? Because he's not challenged to do this every game. But in the end, make no mistake about it, he's capable of playing like this every single night. He just has to learn how to do it in these environments first. And wow, right?
Right. And Josh Giddey, he literally picked on his defender. Let's just be honest.
Every time.
All right. He recognized when CJ was on him and he went downhill. And then they tried to switch it up and put a more physical big guy on him, which was Jackson Hayes. and he just went around him every single time. To me, like this is exactly what we've been talking about, Josh, is how do you guard a 6'9" player that has, power forward body with guard skills and that passes the ball so well. I mean, like it's almost impossible. So when we
Impossible.
say we make comments like we believe that Josh Giddey will be an MVP caliber type player, we're not just fucking around with those words because you see what Josh is able to do in big games, and we've said this consistently. This is not the first time we've said it. Like Josh Giddey's had big game after big game after big game when the big lights are on him. And that's what's so important of what he is doing and what he's accomplishing right now. And that's why when I say Josh will be an MVP caliber type player, I fully believe it.
And he's showing the signs of it. Now, anybody can watch his game and say he's not there yet. Here's what he needs to do to get there. Like that doesn't make you a fucking genius,
Mm,
right? But
you're right.
looking at it and saying, does he have the work ethic, the determination, and the inherent like talent to bridge that gap?
Sure.
Because if he does, and that's something that we've seen from former Thunder players over and over and over again. People wanted to tell us why James Harden couldn't be a superstar or why Russell Westbrook couldn't be a superstar. And people never really questioned Kevin Durant. But like there's a different level of player that Sam Presti picked that was not quite as physically gifted as Kevin Durant, but they were able to become MVPs. And the way they did that was hard work, determination, and really becoming masters of their craft. And so let's talk about the array of shots we saw from Giddey. Like his
Yeah.
3-point shot was just rain. It was something that if teams go forward and they think, oh yeah, we're gonna let Giddey beat us on the perimeter, that's fine, but they need to do that at their own peril. But
Mm,
his ability, like you said, to get into the post, right, and pick on his defender. He was knocking down runners. I think it was the second basket, maybe the first basket of the game for us, where Giddey got an offensive rebound and did a little like push shot. He was going at Valanciunas. It wasn't like he was really feeling limited by, I'm up against a smaller guard. Like he understood his ability to position his body in a way where he could safely get his shot off. And that, to me, it was amazing to see this progression. We could talk about Josh Giddey all day, but obviously,
but like, but I want to echo what you're saying though, is that his ability to utilize what I call basketball IQ in these IQ situations where he says, um, I mean, a split second, who's guarding me? What's this guy's weakness? And then he exploits that weakness because here's the reality: is if Valachunas is on him or Jackson Hayes is on him, right? He's
mhm,
attacking downhill and then he's doing a pull up or a little floater really fast, like dropping on a dime, stopping on a dime and pulling it because he recognizes that they need a little bit more time to gather. Like it's so next level of what he is doing. And it's to me, it's like the perfect example is that when all the spotlight's on him, okay, and he's
mhm.
playing a game in ESPN, everybody's watching. He puts up 31 points, near triple double, and everybody's stopping and saying, "Okay, we weren't expecting that." But you and I, we're expecting that. Like we're expecting Josh to be able to shoot 35 percent plus percent from 3-point throughout his career. Well, why do we believe that? It's because we see the growth in Josh every single game. We see the growth in Josh every single month. And we're starting to say, like, there is no stopping with him. One of our best listeners, Chris, he says that he believes that Josh Giddey is a Larry Bird type player. And it's crazy because you start looking at the way that Larry Bird passes the ball. You start looking at how Larry Bird picks up on his matchups and the way that he does this and that. And it's like, you know what? Like I see, things that make me feel like maybe he's right. Maybe there is a little bit of Larry Bird and Josh Giddey, and that's scary.
Yeah, and the thing that makes it incredible is really watching what we saw from Shea,
Yeah.
um, and that gave the confidence to Giddey. Right, Shea was
Hmm.
constantly like, I said it early on, like he was inviting the double team so the defense would get unbalanced and swing the ball quickly. And if the
Yep.
next guy got off of it, like I heard coach say, they got off of it like it was hot, like fast. Got it to the other side, and we were attacking the mismatches on the other side, cross matchups, anything we could. That was the whole first half, and it was there. I mean, it was difficult. There were times where it felt like we might get blown out, and then it was like we had a little bit of a lead, but we knew that they were just lurking. But we weren't able to really get into like a comfort zone. I really feel like into the second half. So we get into the second half, we get a bit of a lead, 9 points, 10 points, right in the fourth quarter, and then they go on a run. boom, like
Over.
that. And so what does coach do? He goes to Shea, right? So
Right away.
Shea had a good third quarter, effective in the third quarter. Shea
I
got
think he had like
started
12 or 14 points in that
right.
third
He got
quarter.
started early in the third quarter,
Yeah.
right, and he made them know like he was knocking down a three. He was doing everything. But that fourth quarter, as it went on, it became a master class of finishing the game. That shot he made on Herb Jones with what I think like 28 seconds left,
It's insane.
through contact.
2-for-1.
He wasn't good. Yeah, he wasn't going to get the whistle, right? I mean,
But
this
they weren't going to call that both ways. I mean, the they hadn't been calling the touch fouls all game, both ways.
right. And like you said, bro, he totally demonstrated why he is an MVP player. Like we want to say candidate, we want to say future MVP, but like this year he's playing like an MVP, and that fourth quarter was it proved it.
Yeah, if you're not willing to at least sit there and say Shea is the best guard this NBA season in the league,
Mm-hmm.
and I want you guys to just think about that. Shea is the best guard in the NBA this season, and I know
And
that someone's like, "Oh, what Luca?" No,
there were some
I'm not.
historic seasons. It was
Yeah,
Damian Lillard's like highest career average. We saw
hmm
Donovan Mitchell go for what 70 plus points. We saw incredible things, but you're saying Shea was the best.
Shea's the best this season, and I think when push comes to shove, and you're going to see it in the MVP voting this year, you're going to see Embiid take the MVP. You'll see Joker take second place. With I think a lot of votes that Joker would typically get are going to be split between Shea and Joker, and because of that, I think he's putting himself in that conversation for the first time to really set himself up for next year. Like I want to say that he's MVP caliber type player, but let's just be honest. The only way that Shea is going to win MVP is if he takes the Oklahoma City Thunder to 7 games with the Denver Nuggets. And the only reason I say that is because at that point the rest of the world, the national television will be spotlight will be on him.
But the voting is already done by then.
But the voting's already done. And even then, like that's what I'm saying, is it like by then I just feel like it's too late. So I don't think he has enough steam, but I do
But
think that he's going to get votes a
he
lot.
said it last year when he played after the All Star break. He was healthy. Giddy went down with a hip injury. Shea kept playing, and he put up 31 a game. And we said this is him creating his resume for next year's All Star game. And
That's
he
right.
picked up where he left off, right? And he just rode right into the All Star game,
And then we talked about the step up from this year
right? So
that needed to happen.
then all of a sudden, what we're seeing right now, it can't be voted on for MVP, but he's starting his application for next year's MVP candidacy.
And that's it, man. He's going to be a first team All NBA team this year. He's going to get a lot of credit, and it's going to set up for next year. And I do think that Shea's going to come out and average 32 to 34 points a game. I just do. And I know he won't need to, right?
But
But
that 3-point weapon is coming along, isn't it?
yeah, and I think the way he gets to the foul line and essentially can score 30 plus points on only 17 to 20 shots allows everybody else to be able to dominate in the game without taking away from Shea. So with Shea being, give the guy 20 shots, let him score 30 plus points, and the rest of the guys will step up in the ways they will. To me, it's mind-boggling we're even sitting in this position to be able to say Shea, in my opinion, is the best guard in the NBA right now this year. You've got Dort, I think is top 2 defenders in the league. I just do. I mean, Memphis guy, I can't even think of his name.
Jackson.
Jackson, I think is probably right there, 1A, 1B with Dort. So the fact is that we finally have what I would consider all of our guys starting to develop in a perfect opportunity. Next year, we're going to see JW, one of the best two-way players in the league, right? We're going to watch Chet be a rookie and starting to do things that people are going to be like, holy shit. Like this team is a whole lot better and so far ahead of what anybody else is willing to admit. Because a lot of people aren't willing to admit that this team is going to win 60 games next year or 55 games next year. A lot of people won't be able to see that, just because the beginning of the season, we had 0.5% to make the playoffs, chance to make the playoffs, according to ESPN, 0.5%, right? I'm telling you guys, this team isn't done shocking the world. And when it's all said and done next year, and we only have what, like 22 losses, 27 losses, I think people are going to stop and be like, what the fuck did we miss? And it's going to be like, no, no, no. We've been saying this the whole time. Like our fans, our people that are all around the world have been saying this about the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're that good.
Yeah, dude. And that's, Shea is our first option. And we already talked about Josh and what he's been able to do and his stepping up. Because let's face it, like a guy like Shea, he wants other ballers. He wants other competitors. He wants other big gamers, right? They come in to the biggest game of their life and they put up the biggest game of their life, right? That is what a player like Shea wants to be built around. So that's what we get from Lou Dort. That's what we get. We know we get that from Lou Dort. I think there was a lot of questions coming into the game. Which version of Lou Dort we're going to get? Bro, we get elimination game Lou Dort, which is the best Lou Dort.
It's that beast mentality. You know what I'm saying? It's I'm going to kick your fucking ass. I'm going to make you pay. Like, do you think that Ingram is feeling good today? No, he just went through the Dort chamber, bro. And he's pulling his limbs and he's pulling his fingers out of the Dort chamber and saying, I fucking hate Lou Dort. Like, bro, this is why it's so next level, is that like when the game's on the line, Lou Dort brings it up, And what do we see from J-Dub last night too, man? Who did J-Dub guard?
He
Well,
got
let me
some
tell
Ingram
you.
out there.
Well, he guarded Ingram, but who did he guard most of the night?
You
You
tell
didn't
me.
even notice the person most of the night because J-Dub guarded him so well.
You're
It was
talking
CJ,
McCollum?
bro.
Yeah.
He just shut CJ fucking down.
Yeah.
You didn't even fucking recognize him. What's going on? Like,
Right.
that's how good J-Dub was. Like, we didn't need him to score all those points. We just need
Right.
to set it back and let him do what he did.
Right. And Dort, what he got off to 20-point first half. I think he ended up with 27 or 28 points on the game. And I think like what kind of summarizes it all was there was a out of bounds play, sideline out of bounds, and Shea slipped to the basket. Giddey hit him with a pass, and honestly, Shea should not have shot the ball. We were up by, I think, 2 with the ball. Maybe, it was a tight game. We could have they were going to have to foul us, right? And Shea shoots it. Josh Richardson makes the defensive player of his career and blocks
Unbelievable.
it.
Unbelievable.
And somehow Dort is Johnny on the spot, picks up the ball, and he gets an
fouled.
and one.
Was it? No, he gets fouled. Just 2 shots.
He got fouled, but
Yeah.
he got the shot off, and it was just the physical rebound. Dort is the type of player that if you're going to battle, you want to know it has your back, because it doesn't matter what his average was. It doesn't matter anything. It matters that if you're Shea and you miss that shot, right, and somebody picks your team up in that moment, and it happens to be Lou Dort, but who else would it be? He's earned the whole world's respect, the whole basketball world's respect, because of his ability to play defense, and then big game offensive elimination game Lou Dort beast. Like, you combine those two things, and like I remember for a long time, I as a Thunder fan would just wish we had a legit 3-and-D player, right?
Yeah.
What about a legit 3-and-D superhuman, right? Because he is incredible how physical he goes at the basket, how much he looks for contact, and how regularly in the first half he was the one getting through the free throw line. And got to tip our hat to Shea, to Giddey, because of the way that they were playing it, left Dort with these advantages where he was attacking the weak side, and he was attacking.
Man, each game is a battle mentality, right, guys? You're getting up for ready for battle, and everybody has a friend, right? If you're about to get in a fight, you got your first call is to one person. It's maybe not a person that you hang out with a lot, but that one person that you're going to call because it's going to back up your back, that's going to fight whoever, that's going to throw punches and take punches for you, right? That's what Lou Dort is for this team. I call it the Lou Dort mentality, but let's just call it the Canadian mentality, because I believe what Lou Dort and Shea have in teaching these other guys is a mentality in life, and it's powerful because Lou Dort understands the defensive game like he's playing a goalie, right? That has access to the entire fucking field. Okay, for you guys that know soccer or football, right? You know what I'm talking about. The goalie that can run up and down the court and grab up the ball and do whatever he wants with it. He can pick it up. He has the advantages in the entire court that he only has in his goalie. Typically, that's what Dort does. He looks at it and says, "Oh yeah, that's all you got to do to shut down that type of player. I can do that." Dort understands things at a whole new level. And that's when you're sitting here saying, can Dort average 20 points a game? Maybe. Do we need him to average 20 points a game? Hell no. What we need him to do is consistently hit a shot. And if he consistently hits a shot, plays defense, then he's irreplaceable. You can never replace somebody like Dort. Because when you're getting in a fight, you want somebody like them. You want somebody that's going to do, whatever it takes to get the win.
Yeah.
And what we saw Dort do last night was he went up and, I mean, who was it against? Valanciunas, Jackson, where he got the rebound against? I mean, he's like the shortest guy on the court, and he just got a rebound from a place that he shouldn't have been able to get it from. How is that possible? It's because Dort understands the game in such a way that he knows how to have an impact, whether he has the ball in his hand or not. And that's why I say is to everybody that we've talked to about the Dort is this is what we've been saying is that he earns his shots. Okay, that's why he's out there. Okay, he can take 7 threes and hit one of them. I'm okay with that. You know why? Is because he's going to get 5 stops. He's going to impact 5 major defensive plays. He's going to make another defenders and different defenders miss multiple shots. So he's creating multiple new possessions from us every single game. So who gives a shit if he wants to take 14 shots? Especially when you saw what he did last night. Bro, give him the ball. Let him know what he's going to do because he's still, 23, 24 years old? He's still developing his offensive game. And when he gets downhill and he can hit that layup, it opens everything else up for everybody else.
I'm not going to name any names, bro, but I heard some people who think they're smart, maybe even get respected for being smart, who felt like the key to us winning the game was Lou Dort not shooting. And I would say that they probably have had that mentality most of the season.
Are those the same guys that probably would say something like, I don't know, the key to having sex is not putting your dick in the vagina?
No, dude, these are not the same people.
All right, because, that just makes no sense. Like, you want Lou Dort changing games, bro.
But here's the deal, right? They've been saying it all season. They've been saying Lou Dort needs to take less shots. And I get it. When Lou Dort shoots 1 from 7 from deep, it opens the floor. Really frustrating. But if you shut him down, if you started making him question whether or not it was a good shot after a 1 for 7 game, right, then you're not going to get a game like this. And it's the same thing. Like, I heard people asking, and it's a good question, like, hey, Lou, did you learn anything from the previous playoff series, that Game 7 elimination game? Well, Game 6 was also elimination game, right? And we had to win that one. And his answer was like, absolutely. And what I noticed was, think about the Rocket series, how each game for Dort built upon it. And on that Game 7, he had his best offensive game. This whole season was doing the same thing. And here we are, elimination game. And he knows, it's not that like he hasn't taken a bad shot all season. He's taken a lot of bad shots. But also he knows what is his shot. In this season, this game, he stuck to those things. And when it was raining, his team kept feeding him because guess what? They have confidence. So I think there's a lot you can learn just by watching a team's confidence in one of their own teammates.
That's right. And Shea not panicking and Shea allowing, I want to say Shea allowing Dort to do what he was doing, recognizing he was going to get his. That's what's so impressive about it was you didn't see Shea panicking. You saw Shea facilitating and doing that, what I would call the hockey assist, This is what we need from the team.
Yeah.
Someone's hot, let him be hot. Let him go. Josh got hot throughout the game. He never was like scorching, boom, 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 But he consistently put up points. Whereas you saw Dort score 20 points in the first half, so it was easy to feed him. It was easy to keep going with him,
Right. Dude, J-Dub.
Yes.
Not his biggest offensive game, but huge defensive assignments, like you were saying. He made big plays down the stretch.
I just don't think people are saying enough about him. There's so many other things that are happening, but let's just stop and appreciate his defensive night, bro. Like, it was spectacular. Like, he literally, like, every single time I think of J-Dub playing good defense, you know who I think about? I think about Shea sitting there yelling at KD, joking around, saying, "Careful, man, I'm going to stick my rook on you." And then the next time they played, J-Dub was carding KD.
We
Like, that's
watched
what
it.
I'm thinking about constantly, man. It's like, how does Shea say, "Careful, man, I'm going to stick my rookie on you"? And then Shea pretty much makes sure he gets his rookie, and it makes a difference. And you could tell, like, KD was impressed. KD wasn't like, KD was impressed.
So, all right. So J Dub wins the Western Conference Rookie of the Month for March and April. So that's 2 months there. But um, we're used to seeing Thunder rookies get this Western Conference Player of the Month, but we shouldn't ever get used to it. We need to definitely take the time to tip our hat to that. Obviously, he would have liked to have a better offensive game, but this goes back to what I said kind of at the beginning, which is J Will and J Dub, their fourth quarters amazing. But let's stick with J Dub for a little bit, and we'll go to J Will in a minute.
Cool, cool,
But
cool.
J Dub gets downhill. He
Mm.
finishes at the rim. He creates mismatches. There was a shot where J Dub missed, right? J Will gets the rebound, gets it back to J Dub, and J Dub attacks the rim and goes and finishes. That's
Throwing
rookie
it
on
down,
rookie
too. It was
action.
filthy.
Yeah, and that's what we need. That's what we need when you have so much attention being paid to the stars, right? You need those other guys who understand the ability to impact the game by going and grabbing a loose ball, by making the right cut, by being prepared for the moment. And it's uncommon to get one rookie who's ready for that, but we get two of them on a team that's full of young players, bro. It's something special.
Yeah, and I want to say, after we saw about 20 games with Jay Will out there, I started saying that Jay Will wouldn't be drafted outside of the lottery anymore. Like, people would not let him drop that far.
Yeah, people have been saying it.
Now you're hearing it from other people, and you're hearing it from other, like, podcasters and stuff like that. Is that Jay Will's game is something that's special. It's something that a lot of people have missed. And to me, I'm seeing this with our rookies, and that's how we know the game is changing so drastically, guys, right now, is because these rookies that are coming and shining and making it look like, whoa, why? How are these rookies so good? It's because the shift in the NBA has already started happening. And when that shift happens, you get guys like in the same draft where it's like LeBron, Carmelo, D Wade, Chris Paul. I mean, you get a massive draft, and everyone's like, "Holy shit! How did that draft happen like that?" It's because the change and shift has happened. And when it's all said and done, and we're looking back and we're saying this draft class is one of the greatest draft classes that any team is ever going to have, and I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that with all of my heart, because if you look at J Dub, you look at J Will, you look at Usman Jang, and we're still not talking about what I think could be one of the best players of this generation, and that's Chet. And that's what's so impressive about this, is that you look at Sam Presti, you look at what he's doing, and it starts with J Dub. It's understanding, I'm willing to trade whatever it takes to protect that pick because I need J Dub on our team. Dude, and that was so next level, it's not even funny. And that's why I'll always be grateful for what has Sam Presti allowed us to have here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I mean, it's uncommon to have two players of the same name, both of them being rookies, and both of them being out there in the key moments of a elimination game, being role players plus. Triple eight game for J Will, 8 points, 8 assists, and eight rebounds. And J Dub came in fresh off of that award, knowing that he was going to be somebody that the defense highlighted, and he found a way to make an impact through being patient and just getting to the right spots and taking the shots that were his. I
And
feel
shutting
like,
down CJ's lanes. I mean,
yeah,
completely.
yeah, and his defense and J Will's drawing charges. I mean, there's so
But
many things.
here's the thing. They didn't give him any charges last night, did they?
I
But
think he got one.
one, okay.
Yeah.
But that was what's so crazy about it, is I the way that he was playing was making it so Valanciunas' impact was almost null and void. And that's what's crazy about it,
Even though
is
he had
that,
18 rebounds, though.
yeah, but he had 18 rebounds, but I want to say he had 8 of those in the first quarter, and he had most of his offensive boards in that first quarter. And the reason I say that is because Jay Will learned, stepped up, became better. And we saw it right in front of us. This maturity out of this young man that, man, I get excited about, man.
Well, I want to hold this moment in for as long as I can because it's a special moment as a Thunder fan. Here we go again, guys. But we do need to do something before we leave, which is we need to take a moment and talk about the upcoming game. I don't want to because I wish we could spend the whole day like basking in this, but this is not a championship. This is not even a playoff series. We got another game coming up Friday. And there's a lot of talk going on about the Timberwolves. Sometimes outside noise can disrupt a team, but I have a feeling right now with the Timberwolves, Dave, that everybody questioning them is actually going to ignite them to have a togetherness that would surprise people from the outside. I don't think it's as ugly as everybody thinks. At least I think that their coach, I think Chris Finch, can tape it together just long enough to get one good game. And we know how dynamic Ant can be, and Cat is back, and their role players are solid. Let's face it. Like, they are a little bit beat up. We know about Vanderbilt. I think he's the one who broke his hand. I think Gobert will be back. I think Naz Reid is out. He's somebody that consistently plays really well against us. But overall, like, it's gonna be another scrappy game. At the best, we can look to hope to win another close game.
What are you doing? If I'm Coach D, the first thing I'm doing is I'm making sure that fire is felt. I want to see if the metal is gonna, bend under pressure. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what we can do to cause, a little bit of stirring, a little bit of upsetness, because at the end of the season like this, when you're, what are we, 84 games now? This will be the 84th game of the season coming up, and people are injured, people are making stupid mistakes, the fights are happening. Like, how many times have we seen a team just give up? Fuck it, right? I think the way that the Lakers demoralized them the other day, it's going to be really hard for them to bounce back. It just is. But if we get in their heads early on, it's going to be impossible. Because once you start getting down, once you start getting on yourself, once you start doing stupid shit, and then it's like nothing's fucking working, it's over. And I think that is how Coach D needs to coach tomorrow night. Is he needs to go at them often, go at them hard, make them frustrated, get Cat in foul trouble, get their Conley upset, like do all the things that we need to do to get in their head and change the game.
All right, so I mentioned it earlier with the Pelicans. Like, as the fourth quarter wore on, if you go back and you look at like CJ McCollum, he had a tough runner that wasn't a good shot against J-Dub. There's a possession where Brandon Ingram had the ball ripped away from him by Shea. Like, as the intensity increased, it felt like the Pelicans played tighter, and like I've said this whole time, it felt like we played looser. So if that's the case coming up with the Timberwolves, I think one thing that's completely fair to assume, no matter how difficult things are in the locker room, it's that the Timberwolves are going to have three really good quarters. They're going to play three quarters where it may feel like at times, like, I don't know if we're going to be able to beat them. But what we do in that one quarter where they put up like 18 points, and the difference between that quarter being the third quarter and the fourth quarter, right, is really important. But I really do feel like they have so much offensive talent. And even if with our defensive length, if we move our feet, if we play without reaching, if we do all the things right, they have a few guys that can go out there and do what we had two guys do, which is put up 30. And we're going to have to go toe-to-toe with a really good team. But if we can find a way to squeak past them, right, we have a 7-game series on the horizon. So we want to be excited for that. We understand what's at stake. But right now, it's one game against a team that, let's be honest, they've beat us. They've beat us pretty regularly over the last few years. And it's probably revenge for all the times we beat them when we had a good team. But they like playing against us. That's one thing I know for sure.
And I want to take a moment here and highlight a matchup that I am not only excited about, but I'm ready for. And that is because Jay Will is going to draw 3 offensive charges against Cat tomorrow night. Okay? Cat is going to get so frustrated with Jay Will because Jay Will is going to take away his 3-point shot, and Jay Will is going to force him to try to go around him. And when he does, he's going to drop his shoulder, and Jay Will is going to absorb that contact, boom, like that. Jay Will is going to change the game tomorrow night by the way that he plays defense. Is plays defense on Cat, and I'm so excited about it. I know that there's going to be Cat and there's going to be Rudy out there, but I do think that we're going to be utilizing Dario a whole lot more than we have utilized him recently. Because if you look at Jay Will, he matches up really well against Cat because he's more of a perimeter defender. And then I think you look at Dario, who's a perimeter or inside defender, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this game is going to be a lot of different matchups, guys. I do think that this is one of those things that coach is going to consistently sub guys in and out, trying to find the matchup, trying to find the disadvantage that they're going to put out there. And I do think it's going to be another game where you see Wiggins and Lindy Waters and Isaiah Joe step up in big ways.
So let's talk about a little bit the rotations we watched against the Pelicans and what we can kind of take from that going into the Wolves game. We already mentioned the starting five, right? We got Giddey, Shea, Dort, and 2 Jalen Williamses. And then after that, we've got Isaiah Joe, played some minutes, wasn't particularly effective, but I felt like he competed at a high level. Lindy Waters played some minutes, same thing. Aaron Wiggins played some minutes. I thought he was really effective, but he didn't, get a ton of minutes, but he was impactful. Dario Saric played some minutes. Am I missing anybody? I mean, it seems like we shortened the rotation to 9.
But that's what the rotation is going to look like, man. I'll be honest with you. That's what we want our rotation to look like right now. You got our pure shooter off the bench with Isaiah Joe. You've got our lockdown defender and backdoor extraordinaire. I mean, like, I love it when I'm like calling him backdoor Wiggins. Backdoor Wiggins, right? He's special at what he does. Then you've got Dario, who, in my opinion, is an underrated defender and rebounder, which is great. And then also you have, who am I missing? Lindy Waters, who his defense, in my opinion, is so unknown and underrated that it's shocking to people when they see him playing defense, because he looks like, when you see him at first, he looks like, I don't know, like a 6'1" person. You know what I'm saying? But he's like 6'6", guys. He's so long and so lanky, and he can hit that shot when he's open, and he's not afraid to shoot it no matter the game. That's what I love about Lindy Waters. And it's the 4 of those guys off the bench that really like solidifies this team. And I do think you'll see JRE in this next game, because I do think we'll need our bigs more than we need an extra guard. Like in this game, we need an extra guard out there. I think we'll be utilizing our bigs more unless we, null and void Rudy Gobert and he just gets so frustrated that he does something stupid. And then at that point, then I do think that, pulls a Draymond Green and actually connects with somebody. Then I do think that this team will end up being in a position to play 4 guards with Jay Will out there. But in order for that to happen, we got to get Rudy Gobert out there, or we've got to get Cat in foul trouble. So one of those 2 guys has got to go down, not with an injury, hopefully, but definitely, fuck up something.
Fuck up their own faces.
There we
Hey,
I hope he goes and licks a bunch of mics.
dude, I bet he would, just to see.
Remember when he did that for the Jazz, where it's like everybody's like COVID, he's like, and then he goes and gets COVID.
Yeah, he shuts down the NBA and then the whole
Shuts
rest
the
of the
NBA.
world. I do remember this. This was not too long ago,
Seemed
but
like
it
yesterday.
feels like quite a little bit.
But think about that. That was the beginning of our podcast,
Well,
So thank you, Rudy. If it wasn't for you.
I mean, there were a lot of beginnings, but in the end, here we are. We had an amazing time going live last night. So
Yes. If you guys didn't see it, we had over 1,000 comments constantly up there.
That's
I think
real.
it came out to like every 9 seconds there is a comment up there. And we're on for 3 hours. So it's insane, guys. Like the community that is here, that is, representing this Thunder team. You guys have got to check it out. If nothing else, you don't have to say anything in the comments, just to have to look. Like when a big play happens and everybody's going crazy, it creates an extra umph. We've been away from being able to cheer with people for so long that we really we embrace this. We look forward to games like this, that we were able to sit down and enjoy it with everybody.
Yeah, and we were like, you know what? Let's start recording the podcast again. Let's see what happens. Well, you know what? Let's live stream it. So everybody who's in the live stream right now,
This is for you guys.
yeah, this is dope. Mwani, I see you there. Nicholas, what's up, man? Westby, um, thank you from Vancouver.
My
Very
favorite
cool,
Thunder
very cool.
channel,
Asamba.
Accord King. Yes, I love it, man. George Ring, I love this, man. My
Dark
favorite channel,
Balls. What's up, Garcia?
Dre,
See
dude.
you.
All right. Did you watch the Undisputed? Boo. We're not going to talk that in our chat. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Salty Dunk, man. It was great to have you on the live stream last night. And Wyatt Warren, you too, man. You guys are amazing, man.
Yeah, I mean, we love the live events, and we were like, we can't just stop doing them when the games are over.
Westby,
So
nice to see you, man.
we're like, let's fucking create Smithsta.
Alfonso.
I know, dude. I didn't get much sleep. Dave got even less. But we're like, let's create a little let's start creating events out of nothing, and we'll see what happens. This is a lot of fun. We're trying to figure out how to balance like talking to you guys and like, you know, kind of getting through some content too. So we'll get better at it as we go. Sorry if you guys feel like we're ignoring you while we're just kind of running through shit, but we're gonna break down all that content that we recorded and share it with you guys. So I'm glad
Man.
you guys got to jump on and hear it, how it goes live.
It's fun. And just remember, guys, always fucking remember. Tell someone you fucking love them and tell someone to fuck the fuck off.
There you go, dude.